in the game against Morrow, Lillekanin and Knight really caught them with their pants off, right? So that was a big issue because they didn't expect how powerful this Roach plus Biocomp was for Terran Zerg on that kind of map. But last game we saw that the Protoss Zerg had a feel for what's going on. They realized we need to hit a timing, a pre-9 minute, pre-9.5 minute timing so that we can get some damage in and put the momentum in our favor. This is not the finals, guys. This is the semifinals in the lower bracket, and someone can post the brackets again. I think I have them right here. Yeah, here are the brackets. And this is the second game. It's 1-0 for now, the Lillekanin team. Let's introduce the players once again. In the bottom team, we have the yellow Protoss Pal with his ally, the blue Zerg Elazer, facing now the top team, Knight in the teal Zerg, and his ally, Lillekanin, the green Terran. And this is going to be interesting. So the Protoss Zerg team are the ones who decided on this map. So they're down one game, and so they decided for this map. I'm going to cover a little bit about Avalanche now as to why it is the correct choice in this kind of situation. I've talked a lot about earlier in this series about this little area over here. It's very strong. You can tank it easily. Terrans can do all sorts of different cheese and gimmicks on it, but it's more of a double turn kind of thing. The problem here with having a Zerg on each team is that there's so many open areas here in the middle of the map, so many run-by areas that you can't really cover everything. So the Zergs have really free reign, so it boils down on making sure that the Zergs stay on 2-base and don't go out of control here in a 3-base play. At the same time, the Terran here is opting to go for an 11 gas, so he's probably going to go for a 1-1-1 opening. We've seen Lillekanin do this very often. He can open with like maybe one Reaper into 1-1-1 as his ally takes the 15 hatch. Both Zergs taking 15 hatch, no surprise there. And at the same time, we're seeing that the Protoss is going for a fast second gas. Now, he didn't cut that much. So he didn't cut to the extent where we can say, oh, this is going to be like a cheesy proxy Oracle. But it could be a slightly delayed Oracle and still do much damage. A few things here now is that the Zerg spawned on the left side of this map, so he's the one who's going to be most prone to this area and to possible proxy Oracles right over here. And that's a good thing, because the Zerg is the more sturdier one with his queen. You really want to get the Oracle into the Terran line, and every SCV for the Terran is big as long as you're on one base. So we're just going to see how this pans out. The Overlord now here from Knight is coming in, and he's going to see the gas. He sees two workers over here. He can check the gas mine, so there's a feel for what the Protoss is doing. So they got to know that this is probably going to come. At the same time, we also see here that Lillekanin is not opting for that second gas just yet. So we're not 100% sure if he's going to go for a 1-1-1 Banshee, Cloak Banshee, or if he's just going to go for like a Mine Drop. We've seen him use Mine Drop very effectively against Protosses in the past. And he's just snooping around here with this Marine. He's going to use this Marine to scout for possible proxies, and the probe here is now going to lay down shortly the tech of choice, the hidden tech of choice, and I'm almost certain it's going to be... no, it might not actually even be an Oracle. Look at this, the Stargate is being delayed a lot. It could be anything here. He is... Oh, look, he was researching the Warp Gate to fake out the Overlord as it was scouting, and now he canceled it and instead puts down the Stargate. So he was just faking that he was going for a standard, like a core into a Nexus or something like that, or followed up by maybe some gateway unit play, some blink play, and said he canceled that and just wants to hide the Oracle. Now the top team, they're not oblivious about this. They know that something's happening. Look at this. Look at this Overlord creeping, crawling, going over in this area. This is generally the areas where the Oracles, the proxy Oracles happen. So he knows that something is still up. We've seen Lillekanin get caught very often with the Oracles, but they're confident that they can just defend this, right? They're confident that this is going to be no issue, and we see the Spore going down. So they're sniffing this out. They know something is up. Both Zergs getting their speed done. Bottom Zerg is still mining gas. Top isn't. So top Zerg just wants to get some more map control, drone up, and is focusing on getting some... he wants his third base play eventually. So, and we do see that the tech choice here of the 1-1 for Lillekanin is going to be that Mine Drop, 4 Marines, 2 Mines, that he loves doing against Protoss. It's standard Lillekanin here, and if the bottom team has seen a lot of the replays or VODs, they might know what's up. But at the same time, here we go, here's the Oracle, and it gets caught by the Mine. So in previous series against Kyo earlier in this tournament, he was too aggressive with his drop. He did not save one of the Mines and just went with the drop. But this time around, we have Lillekanin just delaying a little bit longer, leaving one of the mines at home to defend against the Oracle. This is a very smart choice because last time around this really hurt him a lot. Instead he just decides to drop over here, kill the pylon, and now go frontal. At the same time, we see some poking around here of both Zergs making large amounts of lings, and they're just poking back and forth here in these ling wars. So right now we're seeing here both of Zergs, they're not really aggressive. They know that there's no big victories to be made here. At the same time, this drop has been revealed as he killed the proxy pylon, and he does manage to unload the mine, at least that, and that's going to be kind of annoying because there's no layer just in yet for the bottom team, and he doesn't have a robo, so he can't really do anything with that unless he pulls one of the oracles down. I think it died, so there's no way for him to reveal that mine just yet. We also see here that the blink is on its way, and both teams really stabilizing, so good play by both teams. It looks like the Protoss Zerg team, they know how to play on this map, they know what they're doing, and it is generally a Zerg favored map, so any composition with Zerg, it's hard to say if Protoss Zerg team is completely favored or not. I think it's pretty balanced. It depends really on the kind of strategy choices that each player go with, different styles. I think this is actually a good map to play against Lillekanin because he loves to go these late game mech plays generally against Protoss Zerg when Zergs play very defensive. But that being said here, I'm not exactly sure if the bottom team is focusing on expanding enough. They're really being harassed here a lot by the constant ling harasses. And here finally we got the natural going down for the Protoss. A very, very late Nexus. The top team managed to stall long enough with these run-bys and these small little drops here, forcing the Protoss to just wait for the Overseer to come here and clean out that mine. And it looks like the top team is securing their naturals and Zerg's third base. And the Spire is almost done. We're at 50% here. So once the mutas come up, the top team's mobility is just going to raise itself tenfold. Not only were these lings doing a great job at just zoning the armies of the bottom team, but once the mutas come out, it's going to be a big issue. So the top team realizes that they just need to stall until these mutas come out. That's why Knight is just sending these lings here, and it looks like the bottom team want to do a push. The blink was done, so it's their timing to do a classic Protoss Zerg comp of Stalkers plus Slings and Banelings, one that they tried to resort to last game as well. But it looks like Knight knows how to deal with this. He just needs to stall and run around and force them to stay in their base. It doesn't matter if he loses all these lings as long as he gets precious time and seconds. And we also see the full wall off here. Oh no, there's a little bit of a gap here, so a very good wall off, but no hold position. So the lings are actually going to come in here, and this is big because he's going to actually see how much infrastructure. He's going to see that there's no forge, no upgrades. I'm going to see only 3 gates, and they also know that there's no saturation at the natural for the Protoss. So the top team must be feeling in a very secure position right now. They know as long as that they just keep on stalling and macroing and harass with these mutas, they're going to be in a good position. That being said here, Blink Stalkers do actually pretty well against mutas. So in a frontal battle here, these Roaches and the Stalkers, Roaches tanking here, are going to do very well against the comp that the top team decide to go. And after that 1-1 transition, 1-1-1 transition from Terran, he needed some time to get his command center rolling. Like, he did not squeeze the command center after the factory. He just went straight for 1-1-1. And mining that second gas early has really delayed his infrastructure, so he did get the Raven out in case of potential DTs or something of that sort, but he doesn't really have a lot of bulk of units here to really defend here against this frontal push. So they're just forced to sack this base, and it's not a big issue because they just need to stall. The gas is being poured into those mutas, and more ling run-bys. This is exactly what they need. Force the Roaches to panic and retreat here. And it looks like the bottom team is a little bit undecisive. They don't know whether to back off, to keep going. They're just stalling here at the front here. They're just waiting for an opportunity, a little bit of a mistake. And it looks like they're just going to go for a full retreat. And that is going to allow these mutas now to not defend anymore, to come down to the bottom and just start hammering on the probe lines of the Protoss, pushing them further back. We see that the bottom team, Blue Zerg Elazer, has good Roach upgrades going on. But if these Roaches just sit at home, he can't do anything with them. So they're going to need something like some fungals or some other kind of transition. He's getting some hydras, but that's probably not going to be enough on a big map like this to deal with these kinds of mutas. And at the same time, Lillekanin's natural's in full swing now, and he can add in those additional production facilities to get all the marauders that he needs to deal with a Roach plus Stalker heavy comp. And Knight going straight on these hydras, I don't know if that was a good choice here. He's still only off 2 base. His third got cancelled, so every gas is really precious here at this stage. And he needs to focus as much as possible on keeping those mutas alive and not wasting them. Right now, we're in a stage where the mutas need to assist the top team in transitioning to third base play. They both need to get their third bases rolling so that then he can transition to more ground army. So the bottom team has a more strong comp for the ground, but they're forced here constantly to defend. And the massive Ling run by going here. Knight's been immaculate with these Ling run bys throughout the entire series, and the Roach, and we don't have a lot of creep being spread here, so the Roach is going to take a while to come over here to the Protoss to defend, and the mutas instead, realizing that the Protoss has a lot of static defense, and the photon cannon on the Nexus just decides here to go into the natural of the Zerg and pick off some drones, and this wall is also a good deter to like force some of these units to go up here. It's really hard to get your Roaches and Hydras up that ramp. So good plays right now from both teams. They're just trying to stay stabilized, but every second that passes, the top team is going to gain an advantage as they secure their bases for the late game in general. And we're seeing here that Pal is adding some Archons and some Storm, and I think that is the better choice here. And we see here some Elazer talking something in Polish about Infestor, which is exactly my thoughts as well. We need some Infestors here. It's probably something about his Infestors almost done, which we're seeing here. So he's saying that, you know, my Infestors are on the way, we just need to survive a little bit longer, and then our army is going to scale a lot better against theirs. If the mutas get caught all at once and money fungals come down, the Zerg at the top team won't have anything to really complement this Bioforce here. And unlike the mech that we've seen Lillekanin crank out, this Bioforce is not as scary as to this Protoss over here, who's got some Archons, and he still has Storm Tech, so he can add in more Templars for Storm, and once he gets his third here established here, he might even go for some Robotech. He does have his Forges spinning, so the upgrades are cranking out for both teams. Teal is playing a little bit of catch-up game here in terms of getting his upgrades to compensate for the lack of ground army here. And now the muta's flying down right here. They're just trying to pin and a preemptive cannon here on the Nexus, just trying to stall as much as possible. And this army looks so scary. Those mutas, and we already have a fungal. He needs to save those fungals for the big engages. There's only one Infestor here. There's more Infestors crawling in from the back. Big engagement. They're checking here to see, does Zerg have a fourth? Zerg has no fourth, so he must be thinking to himself, I bet this Zerg is still on layer tech. I bet we're way ahead. We're way ahead in upgrades. We have a better comp. We need to do something now. And Lillekanin knows that. He's very iffy. He knows that he needs to spread as much as possible. He gets some ghosts out to counter those Archons and Storms, but the bottom team is retreating. They need to sort of either capitalize on this big army advantage they have or push their economic advantage further. So the Protoss is now going for his third. He feels comfortable now in getting it. He's taking a breather, and he's got more infrastructure here ready, morphing in his extra gateways as he gets ready to get that extra economy from the gold. So this is going to be interesting. There's some fungals here. It looks like the mutas are trying to bait these fungals, but the Protoss units are out of position, so the fungals did not manage to kill too many mutas. He lost a lot of Infestors in the process and used up a good amount of that energy, but it looks pretty even. These mutas are not going to be able to harass now, and are going to have to regenerate for some time being as the bottom team keeps eating up the rest of the map. And now we see the Hive Tech here of Knight coming up. He is getting the upgrades. Look at how late these upgrades are. 1-1 only finishing now, and I'm pretty sure that the bottom team is finished with his 2-2, almost with his 2-2, and is going to start cranking out his 3-3 soon as he's already had Hive Tech. At the same time, though, this Bioforce is well upgraded. Lillekanin is starting his 3-3 right now. Let's take a look here at the supply count. It looks like both Lillekanin and the bottom Zerg are maxed out. It looks like all players here are maxed out except for the Protoss. Protoss has the more costly army, and he's just getting completely caught off guard here. Great EMPs all over the Protoss army and great fungals here. A pincer move, roaches in the back, roaches in the front here. Are just getting this entire army. I think Lillekanin was way too enthusiastic. Really got excited there when he saw all those EMPs go off, and once the fungals landed, there was no choice. He had to engage. That being said, his 2-2 upgrades are really coming into play here. He manages to somehow clean up all of that with some of the mutas here that were supporting on the top end. But it was mainly that Bio 200 maxed out Bio army with the ghosts here. The scans go down, checking to see if there are any reinforcements, and now he's just going to start whittling down on these bases. And I cannot believe that this is the turnaround here. It looked like the bottom team had such a sturdy army, and a nuke even goes down here. I'm not exactly sure if this is just like a BM nuke or just to stall. But here goes the nuke, and it looks like he got just as many roaches as his own units. And now the top team is just slowly pouring in units down in here. It looks like in terms of macro, the bottom Zerg was ahead of the top Zerg, but their decision-making was just impeccable from the top team. They just knew when to go in and when not to go in. So GG. And it looks like Lillekanin and Knight are going to take the second game. GG, guys. Well played.